Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. This series is just spewing out assorted thoughts about boatloads of entertainment media. Some ideas are serious, others not so much. There will be spoilers for the series currently featured, but generally only vague references to any other connected ones in a shared universe. Now, with all that out of the way, here we go. Summer School, Chapter 7. Mama Montez making assumptions about Yolanda being on something, and this priest so vehemently agreeing with his assessment, could have easily come about because Jordan McKent spread much propaganda about all atypical attitudes arising after acid abundance or whatever to explain the fright from folks who actually discovered ISA hoopla. Such bullcrap continuing to spread after that guy died would be especially easy when outsiders are involved, particularly if they are from somewhere notoriously not small town-like, such as California. Leech-filled hallucinations must have been chosen for Eclipso's efforts in the mic-tormenting department because said young fellow has had to deal with several family members being hospital confined these past couple of years. Deep-buried fears of malpractice must have caused much imagery related to awful ancient medical procedures appear in his not yet totally comprehensible mental rear places. Anyway, the devious demon is probably prodding that earlier brought up hero inconveniencing society-ingrained behavior that Icicle initially put into play, so he could have an army to be used against JSA folks after his full arrival if things didn't go entirely as planned. Summer School, Chapter 8. The Dugan-Whitmore household's basement is much cleaner now. After each member became old and new superhero life privy last season, everybody must have chipped in tidying the place up, while Pat told tales about whatever crime-fighting junk they ran into, and anything else he got reminded of. These events also most likely started Courtney's obsession with going through those past villain dossiers. Eclipso screwing with Rick's strategy must have taken so long to completely activate, since on top of rattling Our Man 2 sufficiently, he also spent much time making a certain horrendous uncle special custom pissed off enough that his angry drunk movements mirrored the beastly Grundy's regular attack pattern more or less exactly. Summer School, Chapter 9. The true versions of Cold Front bringing people like Jordan and Cameron could very well be capable of actually doing an Icy Force choke deal like what that ladder-shaped hallucination version made Mike think was going on. See, all they'd have to do is freeze particles folks breathe in with cruel yet delicate precision in a way which makes the oxygen unprocessable once it hits throat and lung places. Between making it so the coldness increases over time in a way that things cause much stopping once reaching said innards, and ruining atmospheric molecule crap, that's gotta be doable. Oh, and the older ISA leading unconventional snowman would have never figured out how to do this because he was always so pissed about things that those wacky focus levels required for achieving such awe-inspiring cruelty could never be reached. Eclipso illusions which multiple people witnessed, like what Stargirl glimpsed while fighting at school earlier in the season, seem to be quite simple compared to what this episode exhibits. All the stuff shown back then was rooted in past events which have facts backing them up. Everybody involved has a general idea of those things being a certain way. Most stuff brought up here is all hypothetical rooted. Like what Stripesy Sign imagines a son he's never met is like seeking father vengeance. His big sis who really knows the guy can't be tricked into seeing him like that because she actually already has experience proving he wouldn't behave this way. The Spectre not being capable of stopping that one otherworldly threat probably has something to do with particular higher power related strength sources not wanting certain other defeat method finding able humans not figuring out stuff on their own. Jay being absolutely adamant about not killing Bruce Gordon is most likely connected to him having much experience in the intense decision contemplating department because he constantly worries about whether or not extreme solely his power related measures such as time travel will ever truly be necessary. Summer School, Chapter 10. Shade's so worried about death because in addition to all that junk about getting special abilities during an other dimension reaching demon summoning ritual, and living in this world where enough impossible things happen that nothing should ever be considered not probable, fiddling with those powers he was granted likely involved figuring out some degree of multiversal travel. Given that one probably wouldn't be so perfect at such a skill right away, it's likely that afterlife places must have at least been unintentionally glimpsed during his initial getting the hang of things time. Jenny kinda sucks with her abilities in a much strength is present when they're activated while almost no control is exhibited sorta way, because her spontaneous bursts of intense emotion are simply untamed versions of greater than average willpower. Only those capable of holding on to sentimental junk long enough for uncontrollable points to be reached can generate astonishing determination levels without much outside help like vocal support and whatnot. Everybody who typically doesn't dwell on things out of instinct generally just move on to other stuff without external prodding. Basically, if she learns to accept how holding on to things is natural for her and thus should be honed instead of outright changed, she'll start reaching the walking and even running stage after crawling for oh so long. Really, it might simply be best for her to do some ring practice by conjuring up everything she can ever think of regardless of what others might think. Sort of the supernatural version of expressing oneself through art or whatever. Summer School, Chapter 11. Sometimes the doors take you to places that make sense, sometimes they don't. When they don't, it must be during moments where the Shadowlands trapped folks are so fearful or otherwise upset that their thoughts aren't so coherent. Like when one has just woken up from a series of terrible dreams that can't be recalled. Dr. Midnight states that without his goggles, he constantly hears his dead daughter. Him keeping his not really functioning eyes closed during moments without them might be because there's worry that Eclipse's abilities may at least trick the guy's brain enough that something akin to vision could be experienced. The image of whatever he's listening to being what's glimpsed first after spending decades blind would be true hell indeed. The theaters at least presently closed in this place. Chances are, this particular Demon Realm's inhabitants are kept away from images resembling the Shade's current real-world locale, because even its mighty ruler can't prevent people in such areas from somehow alerting that dude to where they are really at. After all, his power does rely on draining that world a bit. He probably would suck up more instinctively or something if things were manipulated in mirrory sort of ways. Super physical regeneration capability installation must have messed up Cindy's emotional comprehension. That is, her healing power makes things skip from the just starting to feel a sting parts to those I'm still allowed to live ones far too quickly, because it cares way too much about the bodily strain generated by negative emotional stimuli. Summer School, Chapter 12. Pat was merely listening to Rick's uncle all the creative yet totally legal ways he's got back at bullies and other ne'er-do-wells earlier in life. In addition to having known Yolanda for a long time, Miss Berman is quite apt at using reverse psychology and other manipulative whatever to get what she wants in this scenario, because the girl's reminding her of fatherly advice personal experience related things that involve doing stuff after ignoring everything one just got told. Summer School, Chapter 13. Eclipso doesn't truly require for the words, I hate you, to be verbally spoken for his possession-finishing action. What's really needed is for the desired host to simply accept such feelings as actually being present. In a rather extroverted kid's case, talking about things in everyone can hear sort of ways is often vital for that. Starman helping Courtney break free isn't just because he's helping the cosmic staff reach double-wielder stemming new power heights and everything. Rather, the buried Miss Whitmore seeing somebody long thought dead who's heroic showing up, aka impossible good thing happening in plain sight, makes her realize other previously thought as unachievable things, such as demon hosts taking bodily control once again, could occur too. A single general season thought. Shade may have been exploring the multiverse between that original JSA defeat and this season's events. Him sensing Cindy heading towards the Black Diamond might have yanked him back from what's more or less a supernatural vacation. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.